What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Geek Mense Shoot to the
Yes, yes.
Shoot. I'm here with Clyde and Beach once more. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good. How you doing, Keto?
I'm all
All
right.
good.
I'm all right. Happy Heritage Weekend.
Yeah,
How
yeah,
was
yeah. It's been a cuckoo's bananas one. Wife had lots of her family over. Still do actually. So
Oh, okay.
so you know.
I actually wasn't keeping track of the holiday, to be honest. Like, I found out because when I was working, people were like, "Hey, man, what are you gonna do tomorrow?" I was like, "Yeah, aren't we working tomorrow?" And they're like, "No, it's a public holiday. You want to work tomorrow?" And I was like, "Wait."
No, it.
Oh, right,
I don't know if
right.
it's the same in Joburg, but yeah, in Cape Town, like Heritage Day is Friday. Like you smell fires and things on the fire everywhere.
No, Joe Bug were mean people. We don't smile for nobody.
Now I enjoy it there. I actually miss it. It's been like 2 years now since I've last been there.
Oh,
And,
right,
and
because
I
of the
used to
con
like
and stuff.
go back and forth every few months. So it's been a while. So I'm missing it.
Oh, when is Cape Town Comic Con again? Just
It's
out of
happening. It's
curiosity.
happening this weekend. Next weekend, from the 1st to the 3rd of October.
Oh, okay, and that's when we're shooting our special episode.
Yes, yes, yes. So the Cape Town, what's happening with this one is the Cape Town International Animation Festival is happening in tandem with Comic Con.
Oh, right.
So because of the pandemic, Comic Con isn't the big event that it normally is. It's a lot of pop-up stores and places where you can get books and places where you can meet artists. But it's in Cape Town. It's spread all around the city bowl. So
Yeah.
you need to check online which sort of oh, there's a lot of gaming events I know is happening as well. There's Tekken tournaments happening. Um, and those kind of normal Comic Con things, but they have to control
The amount
the
of people and
the
all
the
of that stuff.
crowds and yeah, the entrances
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So
I mean, like how we've been talking about alternate dimensions. I wonder what if there was no COVID? Like that would be great.
dude, soon. I think we getting a handle on it. It's not completely there, but I think 2022 is looking
Yeah,
better.
no, I mean, again, a vaccine off need vaccine. Just social distance. Take care of
Yeah,
just don't be one of those people that want to go back to normal when you know it's not normal. Like I
exactly.
see so much of that stuff where like people are vaccinated or unvaccinated and it's just still like hanging out and it's just like, look, I mean, I'm getting the vaccine because I believe in the vaccine or whatever.
Yeah.
And don't give me conspiracy theories because I know that's everybody's thing. And it's just like they're planning a population culling. It's like these guys are going to space. You think they care about Earth?
Look, I take it this way. I've been double jabbed already, so I'm fully vaxxed for now. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's like if you had head lice, right? I think of COVID like head lice. If I had head lice and I'm sitting next to someone, I'd at least have the courtesy to tell them, dude, I have lice. Or maybe I'd wear a cap to keep the lice in. Or and even if your head's not itching and you know you were next to someone with lice, you'd go wash your hair, wouldn't you?
Yeah. I'm just saying again, like people just be safe, whether you're vaccinated or not. Try and be as safe as you
Yeah,
possibly can.
yeah.
That's the issue right
I
now.
don't like some of the things that's happening because I am like pro-choice, I suppose. So if you choose not to
Yeah.
or have reasons or beliefs for not getting the vaccine, I don't like the bit of discrimination. I predicted this, like when vaccines were coming out. People were,
Yeah. I'm
um,
the same. I'm the same. I don't want
um,
like people to make you take them if you don't want to take them.
yeah,
Especially government. Like
yeah,
private entities, that's a different story. Like private entities, they can have a rule where we don't want you to smoke.
yeah,
And like people who smoke saying this is discrimination. No, you just don't have to work there. Like
yeah.
you can find some other place that accepts that. But
That
once it
accepts
becomes
that.
government
Yes.
regulation, then to me that's scary because now this is like the law of the land.
Then it
That's
becomes a
different from like a
mandate. Yeah,
business. Yeah,
exactly.
so I don't agree with that in particular. And I don't even think that would fly. It wouldn't fly, I don't
No,
think.
no, no.
Too
I
many
think I
people
think
would be
people
like,
are.
nope.
Yeah, I think part of that reasoning is why people are so um, resistant against the vaccine because they feel that people who are pro-vax are conformists. But the same like you have your choice not to get vaccinated.
I have my choice. Yeah.
Sometimes conforming is not a bad thing, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like I said once it came out, I was gonna give it a couple weeks and then I'm gonna get it
Yeah,
because I was just like, yeah, I don't see why not to. And I know people want to go like, you are the research or whatever. Somebody had to take the first vaccine.
exactly.
Like someone had to take them. Like the reason we don't got polio is because somebody took a vaccine.
Dude,
So
in feudal Japan, when people used to get smallpox, they used to take people who were infected and got and healed from smallpox and used to harvest the scabs and turn the scabs into medicine. And that was the first version of vaccines.
So I mean, for me, I'm just like someone had to be there, and I work out regularly, and I eat relatively healthily,
Yeah.
so I feel like I got a good shot.
Now I haven't worked out in a while. Look at this. It's like flabby now.
Well, these don't look great either. Like you can see these also not so good.
And we'll get there. Summer's coming.
But speaking of somebody that really works out, let's talk about What If episode 7. Did you
Oh,
manage to
dude.
catch it? Spoilers, spoilers, spoilers.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting to say this, but we're talking spoilers. Yeah, man. What if Thor didn't grow up with Loki?
Yeah, what if Thor was an only child? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's that's interesting and kind of accurate. Like Thor straight up became a bro. He became a frat boy through and
You know
through.
what's crazy though is that he was spoiled in the first Thor. Like he
Mm,
was spoiled in the first Thor because I mean that's part of the reason why he picks the fight with the frost giants in the
yeah,
first place. Like it was weird that like to remember that Loki was more responsible than Thor.
yeah.
Because Loki in the first movie, he's like, we probably shouldn't do this. Let's not be here. Let's just go home. And you're like, and Thor's like, no, we're fighting everybody.
But in a
And
way, like, don't you think in a way it almost made Loki more sympathetic? Because imagine
yeah,
like you were growing up with that Thor as your brother. He would irritate the hell out of you. I can imagine why Loki would want to stab him so many times. Or he once turned into a snake. You know that Ragnarok story. He once turned into a snake. He knows I love snakes. When I picked up the snake, I turned into Loki and he stabbed me.
yeah,
So so in a way, with all the sibling rivalry, it actually showed the value in, to an extent, Loki helped ground Thor, but like it was still in his character to be that frat boy character. Um, but however, the lesson in the first Thor movie was Odin stripping him of his powers was to teaching that lesson of what's the word I'm looking for? Of
yeah, of like
humility,
humble,
humility.
yeah, humility. But the other thing is like people don't talk about this enough, and it actually makes me upset. Odin is terrible as a father.
Oh
He's
yeah,
actually very bad. He is terrible. Cause like the only reason that Loki grows up with the complex that he grows up with is because of Odin. Like
yeah.
Odin makes them pits them against each other the entire time, and then says to Loki, only Thor is the true son of Odin, so he's the only one who can become king. Of course, Loki's gonna have beef. He's like, I've been here, I've been training, I've been learning the magic and everything, and you're not even gonna give me a shot at all. No
Ex-
wonder he went to Thanos. Like,
exactly. But I'm like actually curious, like in this version where Odin decided not to adopt Loki and give Loki back to his dad in what's it called? Alfenheim is the frost
yeah,
giants.
I think Alphenheim.
He gives Loki back, and then what would he have been like? Would he be one of those doting fathers, like everything Thor does is fantastic? Would he be one of those dads? It's like, my son, you're
Maybe.
so strong. You took out, you know.
I actually wish we got to see some of that. I
Well,
think like that's another thing like about these things being 30 minutes. I would have liked to see Odin interact with this version of Thor just to see what their relationship would have been like.
but or he's one of those like, oh, that's what I imagine because he was probably one of those controlling dads. Like I imagine them being like what you see in movies, like the extremely rich posh aristocrat families. Like who looks down their nose at everyone, and you've got the dad who's got all the money, and as soon as the dad like goes on holidays or goes to sleep, even Frida, her first instinct was like time to go drink with the girls.
Yeah, like, but I'm saying that's why I was thinking that maybe he's kind of Father A, as you described, because
Yeah,
Frigga in this is way more rigid than she
yeah,
was in like the other Thor movies. Like the
yeah.
other Thor movies, she's kind of like their like their wealth and compassion
Yes.
of whatever. She kind of like gives both of them a heart in a
Yeah,
sense. You know what I,
yeah,
or whatever. Because I mean, I know Thor. I know people are not a big fan of Thor too, and I kind of get it. They had great character moments, but they didn't focus up that story.
yeah,
And man, I feel sorry for Malekith because Malekith is supposed to be one of the biggest Thor villains.
yeah.
He was just there to do ha 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 and then just get
And they
destroyed.
got taken out.
Like
I
they,
think but like you said, in that movie, even though Malachi was he was a decent protagonist, he just wasn't as strong as any others, and it's because he kind of just had world domination, kind of. Excuse me, world
no, I think
domination.
so. I think he had a great chance. It's just that I think the director messed up in focusing on Loki and Thor too much
Yeah,
instead of building the dynamic against him and Malekith and Thor.
yeah.
And that's why I think that movie kind of fell apart because I mean they tried to make it a big deal when he kills Frigga, but it's just like they haven't had enough interaction in the first
Maybe,
place for us
but
to.
I'll be honest, like to me, that was my favorite part of the movie. Was to see like they always play Loki and Thor, they're constantly playing up against each other. But when it comes to their mother, that's when they can actually become brothers again. Like you've
Yeah.
got a brother, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Brothers.
Brother,
You've
brother,
got a
one.
brother. Yeah, so and I've got two sons. So they always at each other's throats, but when it comes to things that matter, you actually see that soften up and then truly actually become brothers. And those type of moments, the same thing like in Onward, the Pixar movie, or was it Disney? Pixar. It was a Pixar
No,
movie.
Pixar, Pixar.
Um, those type of moments actually really touch me. I don't know why. I just like when brothers have that brotherly moment. So I kind of did like
No,
that.
yeah, I mean, I think that stuff was good. I just think that it should have been a situation where Loki and Thor team up versus Malekith, and Malekith gets more in the movie to do,
Yeah,
and then towards the end, then we get the whole Loki situation. I think the movie falls apart where they focus too much on Thor and Loki too much, and
yeah,
they forget about Malekith. Where Malekith is supposed to be this ancient villain
yeah.
who is like life threatening to
And
Asgard,
but
but you
yeah,
don't really remember him
I
like
think
that.
there were too many threads. You are right. It's like them escaping, or Loki and Thor escaping together. Frida's death. Malachi with his mission to take over the Midgard and Asgard or whatever. The Ether and Jane Foster. You know, there were
Yeah,
there were too many elements in it, and focusing and jumping around, and then like you said, there was a lot on Thor and Loki, and not enough building up the villain that could have actually been
yeah,
the
I
director's
think I
villain.
think so. I think so. And I mean that's kind of part of the reason why I'm surprised she came back for this episode.
Jane.
The lady who played Jane
Oh,
Foster.
no, why do I
Why am I
want to say
forgetting her
Natalie
name?
Portman?
Natalie
I nearly
Portman.
said Keira Knightley, Natalie Portman.
Nah, you know why I remember her now? Because of that SNL skit she did where she raps or what Natalie raps or whatever. That's why I remembered her name now.
I actually
That's
don't
how I
remember that.
remembered it.
I'll go look for that
Yeah.
skit.
You should probably look that up. They're kind of funny, both of them. There's two
But like,
parts.
but
But
like back to the episode, like this gave us like some for an episode that's not that serious. Like it almost felt more like a classic comic book episode where they take two heroes and put them together against each other, and they have verses on the cover, but they end up working together in the end. This is like Thor
yeah, yeah,
versus
yeah.
Captain Marvel. or Thor versus
Yeah.
Carol Danvers.
Yeah. No, I mean, before we even get to that, because I want to talk a lot about that, but like just getting into the episode itself, um, it was hilarious that they gave the implication that like Thor was partying planets to death.
Yeah.
Like that, I laughed pretty hard at that. I was just like, imagine it's like a world catastrophe, but it's not because of like some ancient demon or something. It's just because the party goes so insane that
That
they
it
like
just
kill the Eastern Seaboard. They start taking out like entire like buildings and things just because of the party stuff.
yeah, and it's like when Carlson was like the what did he call it? The party fever spreading across the earth, you know? like
And what happened to Nick Fury? That was
oh
funny to me because it was like,
why do they keep nerfing my boy like that? Like in the Captain Marvel,
uh,
and it's every time Captain Marvel shows up, they nerf Nick Fury. I don't know if you noticed that because the last time a cat scratched his eye, yes, it's a flirkin, but he lost his eye to a cat, and now he gets put in
yeah, I
after,
will never forgive Captain Marvel for that. Never.
and then he gets
Like, I mean, if you watch like Captain America and the Winter Soldier, they make that eye a big deal. That
yeah,
eye is a plot point. Like, like Nick Fury is like the last time I trusted a person, I lost an eye, and
yeah.
it's like you trusted the cat. Like that's what we talking about. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute, yeah, exactly. Like I don't know, man.
And in that movie, as a human, he fights hand to hand with an alien and does pretty good. So you'd feel like he'd know how to handle an alien cat without losing his eye. Because there
What
was all these theories. There was all these theories going around like he must have gotten caught as a spy or whatever, or something happened.
yeah,
Like
some
in the
kind of
Ultimate Comics,
torture
the
or
way
something like
yeah,
that.
in the Ultimate Comics, the way he loses his eye is that he gets captured by like an enemy terror cell, and then he gets rescued by Wolverine. And during that stuff, that's when he loses the eye and gets the eye patch. So everybody was like, "Oh, maybe they're gonna do something like that, and we're gonna see how awesome he is." No, he just loses it to a space
To a
alien
space cat.
cat by accident.
yeah, dude, that's yeah. Look, that was
But anyway,
disappointing. And then in this one, he showed us he could fight Yellow Jacket. Just was it 2 episodes ago?
yeah.
With the help of Loki, however. Yo, talking about Loki, Frost Giant Loki, pretty badass.
Yeah,
You see, he
it was
also
it
got
was fun to see them be friends though. It was like fun to see them with none of that
yeah,
animosity. Like they were just kind of hanging out and stuff.
but
There
it's
was no like,
because without magic, Loki also got swole.
yeah. But I'm just saying because there was no Odin in between them, they like you
Yeah,
get to see they could have actually been like legitimate friends. That was like fun to see that they're
yeah.
actually like just yeah, man, cool and all of that
My
stuff.
brother from
So that
another
was fun.
mother.
Yeah. That
I
was
do
also
think
hilarious.
Hemsworth and um
Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston. Sorry, I just blanked there for a second. Yeah, yo, for this type of humorous shows, they don't do such good voice acting. Like they
Mm,
I like the because I know in other episodes like here and there the voice acting feels stilted. In this episode, it also felt a bit stilted, but it worked because it was a funnier episode. Because like
yeah.
it had that comedic timing, like kind of like stop for the audience to laugh kind of moments, you know?
Yeah, no, the timing was actually really good in this episode
Yeah.
also. And then also like one thing that I found very interesting about Thor. No, actually we can talk about this after we can talk about that what I found interesting a little bit later. Let's talk about Thor versus Captain Marvel. Cuz one thing I'll say in regards to like the Captain Marvel movie, I think like one of my biggest issues when I reviewed it on one of my other channels before I created Meister Geek comic book media. But like one of the things I said is that Brie Larson is not the problem here. This writing is terrible.
Yeah.
Like it is bad. Like I think a lot of people defend that movie, and I get it. They defend it because women empowerment and all of that stuff. Again, not against that, but like I think it was just bad. Like, for example, I think the whole thing of her having a chip in the back of her head that was restraining her powers and she never broke it. And I was just like, never? Like, you never fell on the back of your
What
head or.
was it the chip?
Yeah, it was like some sort of chip or whatever that they put
Okay.
in her.
Look, this is how I thought. I thought like they tried to think out the Captain Marvel movie well, because Brie Larson is a great, and I like her. Like she was fantastic in Scott Pilgrim. What was the
Yeah.
other? So what was the other thing she was in before this as well? When she was much younger. But anyway, she's a good actress in general. She has personality. She has charisma when you meet her in person. I don't know, like there were some awkward interviews later on in the show, and I don't know if she was like just putting on this bravado because she's supposedly like the most powerful character in the MCU, and maybe feeling some kind of way because people didn't want to give her that credit, because you kind of felt that thing with Mackie, but Mackie just had charisma to pull it off. Like don't
Mm,
underestimate the Falcon type of thing, and blah blah blah. So what I thought in the show was, or in the movie, was that part of her directing notes was Brie Larson or the Captain Marvel character is less powerful because as soon as you use your emotions combined with your like cosmic powers, it makes you more powerful. So throughout the whole movie, it was that she gets trained to keep her emotions constantly in check. But I don't know, but
mm.
that didn't make sense because
No,
the other Kree was
yeah.
still, what was his name? Um, the dude that she was fighting. What's the actor's name?
Jude
Um,
Law. I remember him.
yeah,
I
Jude
remember the
Law.
actor.
Jude Law. He was also like, oh, less expressive and less emotion, but he was still charismatic. I think her directing notes and her writing just pushed it too far, and it kind of, because she cut off her emotions so much for the role, it made her character kind of unlikable.
Yeah, no, I think it was a bad thing. I think I would
Yeah.
have rather seen her. No, but I remember specifically that there's some sort of thing in the
Oh,
back of her head that
I'm
was
probably
blocking the
blanking on
power.
that. Look, I'll be honest, like there are some cool scenes in that movie, but the movie was boring in places. So I might have
No, I think like,
blocked out
that's the sad
certain
thing. Like I
parts.
love that fight scene in the beginning where she's fighting against the Skrulls in the beginning.
Yeah,
Like that was a really good fight scene. And then also I think like there's, as we know, there's some moments where they're laying it on too thick. That whole you should
yeah,
smile, which they actually have a funny callback to in this What If
yeah,
episode
yeah, yeah,
when they would be fighting. I did like that. But I just think like yeah, they made the character way too robotic. It was like no, you didn't have to do that. I think like I would have rather seen a character trying to suppress her emotions than have no emotions at all.
yeah.
I would have rather liked to see a character fly off the handle than just be robotic the entire
I
time.
think you explained it exactly right. If we saw her struggling or having issues, like you said, you'd rather see a character who's struggling to suppress her emotions than just not have emotions. I think you said it exactly right. Yeah, I agree. I completely agree
So
with
I'm
that.
saying, like, I think in this episode was this because she kind of starts off like that in this What If episode
Yeah,
when she lands and everything, and Thor is so charming that I think during the fight he kind of like charms her over to his side,
yeah.
kind of by accident, because like he's just like, come on, relax, have fun. He says, why don't you smile a bit? But he says it in the way he doesn't say it like in the way they were kind of presenting it in the Captain Marvel
Yes.
movie. He says it in the way it's like, man, just loosen
Just
up,
lighten
like,
up.
geez,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It's
yeah.
like a frat
So,
boy telling the serious girl in the corner, like, just yo, lighten up a bit, have a drink, you know.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I did enjoy that. I enjoyed that a lot.
The
And then
Grand
I
Master
enjoyed
was
Party
funny
Cooper.
in this as well.
Yeah, and then also I enjoyed the part where he's like, "We have a word for you on
Oh
Midgard,"
yeah,
and like that was a funny thing because you obviously think it's gonna be like the B word or something like that, and it's like, "Oh, party pooper," and it's like, "Oh man,
but
that caught me
again,
by
like
surprise."
this shows the for the comedic writing purposes, um, the timing, because he says
Mm.
we have a word for people like you, and then everything stops. You know, it's just like the comedic timing was great, and then it's like
Yeah,
party pooper.
yeah. Yeah, I did. And also the relationship with Jane Foster in this, I think was better than in the original. No, not better, I think. I think it was on par. I think their relationship falls apart by Thor number two because she's kind of just a thing to like throw around or whatever, I think. But I
No,
think
she's not in.
in
Yeah, she's in Thor 2, and then she's just gone in Thor
yeah,
3.
yeah, she's gone in Thor 3. There was actually more going on behind the scenes because I know a lot of people reported that it was because her character feels underutilized, which it kind of was in that movie. I think they kind of just made her a traditional damsel in distress,
Yeah,
something for Thor to save, and she gets active in the end. I mean, she helps Thor defeat the bad guy in the end, but I think they just didn't know exactly what to do with her.
yeah.
So maybe Love and Thunder will see something different. I mean,
I think
again, I'm not
definitely
a
if Taika Waititi is involved with this, they'll definitely do something
yeah,
interesting with her.
yeah. I mean, again, I'm not a fan of female Thor just because it's an idea of what if Thor is a woman. I would have liked to see maybe another Norse mythology god. I would have liked to see it maybe take up the mantle of some obscure
A
because there's a
Valkyrie.
couple of yeah, there's a couple of gods of war in Norse mythology, I think. Don't quote me. I haven't read this stuff a long time ago.
Yeah,
But yeah, by the way, yeah, MCU Thor and What If Thor, and that's my favorite version of Thor because the original Asgardian mythology, those guys are terrible.
yeah. They're all bad people. Funny, I don't know if we're gonna touch on that, but like the God of War
Yeah,
games are actually gonna be touching more on those kind of like classic Norse lore and things
yeah.
like that.
Like, what's crazy? Just on a side note, like Hades and Loki, they always get a bad rap in media, but they were actually the nicest of their kind. Like
Yeah,
Hades was actually pretty nice, and I mean compared to Zeus and Poseidon and everything, he was actually pretty okay.
but they were like,
And
yeah, in the classic lore and mythology, whether it's Zeus, whether it's Odin, whether it's all these high gods, they used to just go around and sleep with mortals, sleep with beasts from other realms, have demigods and semigods all over the planet.
no, not even that. Not even that. They used to flood each other's temples. Like they used to have beef with each other. If you worshipped Poseidon, Zeus was going to throw lightning bolts at your temple. And then
Yeah,
if you worshipped like Athena, Poseidon was going to flood your temple with a tsunami. It
yeah,
was just like, what? What is this for? Like, who is this? Like Hades, his only thing was just if you get to the underworld, you can't leave. Like that
yeah.
was it. Like he didn't want nobody escaping. That
But
that that was his whole
normally
thing.
the Hades character, or even the Seth character in Egyptian mythology, all these underworld kings, their goal was always sort of order, like the order of
Yeah.
life and death, the the scales, the valuing of your worth of what you did in Earth, and heroes. And that's what would make them the bad guys, because the guys we would follow, like as the heroes, would always go and undermine the order. Oh, I'm a hero. I die in battle, but I don't die because I overcame the Hades, or the
Yeah,
Loki
yeah.
character, or
Yeah, because Loki also in the original mythology, he literally is just a trickster. Like he doesn't really do anything evil.
yeah,
Like he sets off Ragnarok by accident. It's not even like it's a thing that he intentionally meant to do. And
yeah.
also it's like and also he I mean he's kind of benevolent or whatever, like he plays pranks and
But
stuff. He's
Hela,
not
yeah,
this evil yeah, he's
yeah.
not this evil overlord.
In the Norse stories, Hela's his daughter, and she becomes like the protector of the underworld, or the
Yeah,
gatekeeper of the
yeah, but I'm just
underworld.
saying, like that's always been interesting to me is that when you get to like Disney or especially, but yeah, as Disney and MCU and everything, the people who are like the good guys in the original mythology not so good, and the people who
Yeah,
are like the bad guys in the original mythology not so bad. So I always found that a little bit interesting. But speaking of which, right? The fight, I thought the fight was really good. Like a lot of people were comparing it to Dragon Ball Z a little bit.
yeah.
I mean, it wasn't as fast paced as a Dragon Ball Z fight, but I still think it was a pretty good fight. And I don't think it's like a gauge to say that different because I don't think that Captain Marvel is stronger than Thor, especially in MCU. Like I think in this episode, maybe where he's at right now, she could be stronger than him in this what if universe. I think regular pristine timeline MCU, she's not stronger than him
Yeah.
because Thor took on a dying star. Like like
Yeah,
just to
but
the
not in this universe technically. Look, this Thor, the only reason this I think this Thor would lose to Captain Marvel um, is because of his own hubris. He'd make mistakes because he's been so. It's it's kind of like the Vegeta or the soldier versus the what is it? The brawler or the soldier versus the Street Fighters, show soldier versus the brawler analogy that you also get in anime and stuff like that. Is that Thor goes to all these battles, it's never even close. He goes to all these planets, he whoops people's asses. There's never a real challenge. The fights
mm,
that he gets into is never a challenge. So he's so hubris about it that he believes nothing can touch him. Right? Carol's been in fights. She's like been in war. She's had to strategize because she's part of the whole Kree thing, you know. Um, well, and they basically train like soldiers and go out and do missions and things like that. Thor just goes and sort of he goes to a planet and does what he wants to. He retrieves what his father tells him to go and get. He takes them out because they're not paying their taxes, type of thing, you know. He's kind of just an enforcer who no one can touch. And even in this fight, you could tell he was kind of like he's got that nose thing where he's having fun having the fight. It's like Carol, even
mm.
in the animation, Carol looked more like she was being serious, and Thor was kind of like, and you could tell it was humorous because like they hit them into space, and you could see France written on like the map, so it was like a Looney Tunes fight.
Yeah,
And Thor only
yeah,
won.
yeah, yeah. Some
And
people were
not
saying
that
Looney
Thor
Tunes.
only won, but Thor in a funny way, outthought Captain Marvel because he used the enchantment on Mjolnir to subdue her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean that was a fun fight. I enjoyed it. And again, like people are raging about that. It's like relax. It's geez, it's not that serious. Like I hate battle boarding. Like I used to love battle boarding, but battle boarding is so toxic nowadays
Yeah.
because people will be arguing there for days. Like I remember one time. This was when I knew I needed to stop taking stuff serious on the internet. When I had an argument of Goku versus Superman for like two weeks. Like it was ridiculous. Like I woke up and this guy's comment was there, and I had to be like, I must respond. No, I don't. I
Look,
didn't need to respond.
sometimes it is like interesting exercises to do in your head or to do with other people to talk. But if you start taking it too seriously, remember the winner of the fight is who the writer or the creator or the person putting that into a
Yeah,
story for other people to consume. The winner of the fight is the person who can tell the most convincing story, putting those characters together. You know,
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like how Wolverine can beat Magneto if he really needs to. There's no logical reason how Wolverine could beat Magneto in a fight. But if the writer wanted to concoct a way for Wolverine to win the fight, you could come up with a thing. So, like you said, the ranking battles and stuff like that, it's a fun mental exercise. It does help you like construct story or construct head canon and stuff like that. But sometimes we get too stuck in it. I'll be honest, like for a long time, I was guilty of exactly that of head canon. I made the biggest mistake of my life by joining this like Invincible fan group on like Facebook. Yo,
yeah.
every second post is who would win, um, Omni Man or Superman? Who would win,
Oh, Superman would destroy Omni Man.
Homelander against Omni Man? Who would win in this?
Okay,
And it's
Omni
like,
Man is whooping.
and it's
Omni
like,
Man is whooping
these
Homelander.
are different universes. We don't really need to put these. To be fun to see, and whatever the outcomes in is the outcomes. Whoever wrote it
Yeah,
or put it together created for it.
yeah,
It's not canon. It's not
yeah.
canonical. Um, Things could change. I could write a pretty convincing story of Batman. Shit, I could write a convincing story of I don't know. Give me some weak as Elastic Man killing Superman in a fight. I could probably conceive a story where I get Plastic Man. Not Elastic Man.
Yeah,
Plastic Man is better. He's funnier. Um, Plastic Man killing Superman in a fight, and I could probably write the convincing, dope-ass, action-packed story just because that's the outcome I want from the story.
yeah. No, but I mean, for me, I've seen Superman do things, and what's this? Omni Man couldn't beat Thrag,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
yeah. I'm just like I do not see him. I don't even know why that same question. It's just that It's just that because people have seen Omni Man do some ruthless stuff, they think now like you guys do not know how Superman gets down. But anyway, that's besides the point.
Yeah,
The point
and I
is
also
that
think these are people that are basing all their things of just the TV and the movie franchise lore. Like once
yeah.
you've gone into comic books, once you've seen Superman move planets, once you've seen the extent of his abilities, once you've seen Superman go cuckoo bananas, go nuts.
Once you've seen Superman shoot a midget out of his hand,
Oh,
then
the
you know.
story. Yeah, Superman.
Yeah, no, yeah, but I really getting back to what if yeah, so just to cover that also, I like Stan Lee's explanation where he's just like, stop asking me who wins. The person who wins is the person I want to win. That's it.
That's exactly my point I was trying to make. Exactly. As a person I say wins.
Yeah, so like he used to get all of that fan mail, and he just got sick of it. So he's like, "Stop asking me."
Yo,
I
and
love that video.
Darcy marrying Howard the Duck. Elope.
Oh right, I was like, "Oh okay, okay."
Yo,
All right,
well, clearly Howard's got moves, eh? Dude's got
yeah,
game.
yeah. Apparently, that's the thing with him in the comics is
Yeah,
that he always ends up with human women somehow.
yeah.
So
The
there
comics,
you go.
the comics are fairly dark. He's like a mobster in the comics and shit.
Oh, okay. I wonder how. Maybe they'll do a series with him.
So they keep
I mean,
like Howard. This is like the third time he pops up. He pops up in the What If universe as much times as Tony Stark dies.
yeah, yeah.
Look, I was actually thinking about that this week. Like, are these what ifs also telling us in a way that even though it happens in different ways, Tony's destiny is always to sort of die?
Maybe. Well, I mean,
You
we
know,
don't see him in this one.
like in the multiverse, it's almost like the Marvel, the zombies episode. It shows us that the Infinity Stones always need to come to Earth somehow, and like the
Yeah,
ending of this episode, that the Infinity
yeah,
Stones show itself back, that they are like like in the Strange episode where they say there are always permanent points in time. What like they had a name for it, I just can't remember now,
an
but
absolute point or something
absolute
like that.
points that will always they might happen in different ways, but they always converge, they always happen. So it kind of feels like the Tony Stark dying thing, the Infinity Stone somehow landing on Earth. Like even in this episode, even though it felt like it was just a fun episode, it felt very much like a throwaway episode. But this ending,
Mm,
like
mm.
the fact that the Watu went and they lived happily ever after. Wait, what? and
uh,
and
and is
outside
it
of
me or Owatu looking blank? Like, is it me or like Owatu did Owatu get like a skin color change? Like we getting like he's
I think
like they.
he's starting to look more and more like his voice actor, right?
I was just like, wait a
So if
minute,
I'm
is he
not
gonna get
mistaken, his
visual?
voice is the dude from Westworld,
Yeah,
that
Jeffrey Wright.
actor.
Jeffrey Wright.
Sorry, Jeffrey Wright. Yes, you're right.
Yeah, yeah. No, that was like I was just like, oh, this was a feel good episode. I love the relationship between Jane and Thor, and you think like Thor's gonna be this flighty dude. That's another thing I wanted to talk about actually before we get to
Hmm.
the end. Thor is still basically kind of a good dude.
Yeah.
It's just that in MCU he gets more responsibility, and the fact that Loki is in the mix kind of grounds him a lot more.
Hmm.
So he ends up taking on more responsibility in a sense, because he's still a goofy dude in the first one, like
Yes.
another and all of that stuff. But
Yeah.
then he gives a whole speech, and also in the second one, which I think is kind of underrated, especially Hemsworth's performance in Thor 2. I think his performance in Thor 2 was fantastic, especially as a contrast to what he was in Thor 1.
Yes.
So you see he's still a warrior, but you see him still growing up. You see him advocating for peace with his dad and
Yeah.
everything. So then you get to Thor Ragnarok. You see him kind of take responsibility, even though they kind of just make jokes that entire movie. I think they made it way too funny, especially for the serious stuff that was happening.
I don't know.
But
I'll be honest. Thor Ragnarok's my favorite Thor movie. It's actually one of my favorite
I don't.
MCU movies. But
No,
yeah,
yeah, it's a great movie, but I just felt like okay, he's losing his people, he's losing his like he's losing where he lives, he's lost his eye, and his dad was just like, "Peace out, I'll see you," and it's just like, wait a minute, you're not gonna stay and help? You kind of made this happen, Odin. What's going on? So I felt like for me, they just kind of it was too funny for the serious stuff that was happening. I enjoyed the humor a lot, but I was just like, you guys don't want to slow down and address the fact that Asgard is pretty much destroyed. Like the only time you really feel the consequences of that is when Thanos lands and kills
Asgard,
everybody.
Asgard is not a place. It's a people.
Yeah, but like Thanos made sure there was nothing left.
I'm sorry.
Thanos made sure there was nothing left. Like that's when I legit felt bad for Asgard. I was like, man, wow, and then also another thing that I felt was underrated, and I know that Hemsworth is a great comedic actor, but like that moment in Endgame that he has with Rocket,
Oh
like that
yes.
to me was just like you could have like you guys should have played a little bit more to his dramatic strengths because that's one of my most stark memories from that movie is when he's just talking about how he has to kill Thanos. It's the only thing he has left,
Yeah.
and I was just like, that was such a good moment to me. And when he stabs Thanos and he's like, "I told you," that was like also like, "Oh snap!"
Yeah.
But it should have
Look,
gone for the head. But
I
anyway, point being is that yeah, sorry, go ahead.
no, I watched someone who was talking about that. One of these reviewers who suffers from mental, you know, issues from depression and those kind of anxiety and those kind of things. And he was actually complimenting those scenes um, because you were saying that like these levels of anxiety you go through and these depressive spouts. Sometimes people don't see you cover up those things in humor and dry laughs and sometimes your situation becomes so dire that you become fat Thor. You become um, caught up in your own thing and you drown everything in the mundane and the humorless or the humorsome. You want to be funny. You everything is just drowned in a massive joke. But inside your turmoil is real. It's like I don't think Thor throughout these stories, even this Thor we saw in this episode, has ever undergone those kind of situations. And him reflexively, like even after when the Guardians find him, when they finding him in space, and it's like he's still trying to be funny, like he's still rationalizing the fact that I lost my people, my brother got killed by Thor, by Thanos. Um, I have like nothing, you know, and he's like I lost my eye, I lost my people, and he's standing on the spaceship, but he's still trying to make a joke or have the smile on his face. And when he didn't manage to kill Thanos and get his revenge, because in his head it was like, no, it's cool. I still have a way to fuck this guy up. I still have something to make me feel better. So that's what I'm striving for. And he did not go for the head, and that's what broke him, that he didn't get the revenge he wanted. Even when he goes to Ragnarok, what does he call themselves? We're the Revengers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like these subtle tie-ins all tie together to shape a character. You are right. You are absolutely right that elements of his character were definitely retconned to balls from the first and the second movie. But I do like the Hemsworth Thor we have now.
No, I think it's a great Thor. I just thought they didn't slow down enough for me just in Ragnarok to deal with the consequences of what was happening. And I felt more of the repercussion of those consequences in sorry, I messed it up. I know somebody's gonna be mad and be like, you it's not Endgame. Yeah, sorry, I said Endgame, it's Infinity War. But the
Ah,
point being is that I think through Infinity War and Endgame, that's where you really see the consequences of what happened
yeah.
to Thor. And like I felt like they should have played out more of that stuff in the Ragnarok movie. But getting back to this what if, again, it's still interesting to me that even though he's a single child, even though he was totally irresponsible, he's still kind of a good dude. It's not like he was just destroying stuff or messing stuff up. And when you hold him accountable, he kind of I mean he reacts like a kid, like when you're a kid and your
Yeah,
parents are like, I be better be clean by the time I get home or something like that, and you start panicking and trying to put stuff back to where it
yeah.
was. He like panics in that aspect. But it's just like it's interesting to see a guy who had so much power and he could do whatever he wants, but he like throws a party, but the minute they hold him accountable, he's like, all right, fine, I'm just gonna take responsibility for all of this and I gotta make everybody clean up and all of that stuff. So it's not like he became worse. It's just that he was dumber. Like
But
it's
it,
not
it
like his. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, no. It just goes to show, like, even though, like you said, he's so powerful, but he's just a spoiled kid. But at least he's not a disrespectful. He was a little disrespectful when his dad was like in Odin's sleep and he was like blowing his fingers and kind of distracted. But he respects his mother enough to be scared of an ass whooping.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
Like
know?
I'm just saying, like that's the thing. He's still a good, like he's still kind of
Yeah,
at the root core a good dude. That was interesting to see for me. It's not like Tony Stark where when Tony Stark without the cave he becomes worse.
yeah,
Like Thor, I think would eventually become the Thor that we see regardless,
yeah.
especially if he still grows up on Asgard
I
or
think
whatever.
but I think that's the only thing that Thor needed to, like. They did, like you're saying. I think they represented that at his core, he is a good person. It's just he's misguided. It's like and it's like any of us would happen like that. If we have access to all the resources, wealth, money, you could do whatever you want to. You kind of be a bit of a snob, not a snob, but like reckless like that. And probably once Odin comes out of this Odin sleep, he realized that this version, Party Thor, just needed that lesson in humility. If Thor
Mm.
just gets that inkling, or maybe it's Jane in this universe that teaches him the humility, like slow down a little bit, like blonde boy.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I thought
yeah,
you mentioned it, but their relationship was like super cute as well. It's like they
yeah.
were both doting over each other. It's like he's so hard. It's like it was like a high school frat movie. It was like watching American
Yeah, but I mean,
Pie.
also it was a high school frat thing, but like Thor was so genuine that he didn't talk down to her,
Yes.
which is what I found interesting.
Although they did
Like the
have a
very
funny
first thing,
scene where he had to talk down to her. She's like, "Excuse me," and then like the camera's like up here, and they're like, "Oh."
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but I'm saying like outside of that, like when he actually talks to her, he's like, "Oh
Yeah.
my gosh!" The first thing he compliments is not how she looks; it's like her brains. And I
Yes.
was just like, "Oh, that's a nice thing of you to
Yeah.
do." Like the first thing you think that's gonna fly out of Thor's mouth is like, "Oh my god, you're so hot." It's like
Yeah.
no, it's like oh, you put this everything in this small device. You must be so very smart and all of that
Yeah.
stuff. And look at you. It's like I liked that. So I think this was a great episode. It was a nice breather because everything was so dark and dreary and depressing for the last three episodes or
But
whatever. It's
but
like
you're
the
not
pendulum's
talking
getting
about
chilled
but
and
you're not talking
zombies.
about the fact that Uatu the Watcher did not see Ultra Vision coming. And that's I think that is why this is going to be the motivation. I think the next episode or the finale episode is going to be this is going to be a reason for him to interfere because
He
somehow
has to.
maybe it's because he has all the Infinity Stones, but Ultra Vision, or is that what you're calling him, Ultron Vision, whatever, or is it just Ultron in Vision's body? I don't know. I'd love to hear. From
Yeah.
the trailers I've seen online of the finale episode when they put the Guardians of the Multiverse together, they clearly are fighting Ultron bots. So I
Mm.
don't know if this is Ultron or if this is actually Vision in in a Ultron suit. We'll have to find that out. Um, but this gives Uatu motivation to interact because
Yeah.
if you're operating or flying under his radar, you're doing you traveling through the multiverse and he's not able to see you, that must be concerning.
Yeah. I mean, the other watchers are just going to be like, it doesn't matter. We just watch.
Yeah.
Like, I used to hate how they used to bully him in the books, in the comic books, because he would just be like, the entire multiverse is about to explode. We should probably do something. No, we
Now
just watch.
I wonder I
Uh,
wonder if they're gonna touch on that kind of like ideas or stuff in like the Eternals as well. It's like, oh, our whole planet is collapsing. Another one eternal, one of our eternal cousins or brethren is about to snap half of the universe out of existence. Shall we do something? No. Only when it's a deviant, you know?
I want to punch him in the face. It's like you guys could have helped. Yeah. But
Yeah.
anyway, speaking of, yeah, so I think this was a fantastic episode. But speaking of weirdness, Marvel weirdness, so Hulu is getting something called Marvel's Hit Monkey. I
Yeah.
don't know if you saw the trailer for that.
I
So
did.
Hit Monkey is basically what the name says. I've only seen this character in like three issues of Deadpool. That's kind of where I know this character from.
I've seen him pop up here and there. Like I don't know much about Hit Monkey. Sometimes they just call him Hitman Monkey. Um,
Oh,
sometimes they call him Hitman Monkey. He's a capuchin or something like that. He's one of those.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
one of those Japanese monkeys. Um,
yep.
so what I know from him in the stories is that this actual dude who was a hitman ended up in the like in their troop. They find him in the snow because there are these monkeys who sit in these hot springs. And Hitman Monkey is just like a really smart monkey. And then like they put this dude in the hot springs and he starts to heal and stuff like that. And then people track him down and kill him. And then he takes the guns and he decides to be a hitman. And that's his story. And then he goes around working for Shield or different organizations and stuff like that. He teams up
Oh,
with.
I thought the mercenary spirit was going to enter the monkey. That's what I had in my head for some reason.
No, he's literally just a monkey that's like so there is I think there is a part where like the spirit leads him like to find the killers or any other assassins and stuff like that. But he's just a monkey who's slightly smarter and he he shoots people and he runs around with a bag and he's dope because he can hold things in his hands and on his feet.
Okay,
So
well, it's gonna be an
I'm
interesting.
interested to see what Hula's gonna do with it. I do the animation
Yeah,
style looks pretty cool.
yeah. And I also know they have Modoc on there, so I actually wanted to make some time to see if I could catch that. But
Oh, Modok,
yeah,
I've
yeah,
watched it.
Modoc's also on Hulu.
I've watched it.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
The one with
is
Oswald,
the
with
season
with
done?
Walter Payton Oswald.
Yeah, is the season done?
Yes, I think I watched the full season. It's
Oh, okay.
it's
I
done by
wonder
the
when they.
Robot Chicken guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I noticed that style because I used to watch Robot Chicken a lot.
yeah.
So does that mean that they're gonna have a season two for that? Because maybe then I should see if I can catch up on that, and then we can make an episode for that.
Probably.
Maybe
I,
potentially.
just remember, it's not what you expect.
Okay. But yeah, just like Marvel's Hit Monkey, I did not expect them to do this character. I was shocked when I saw it
I
because I've only seen him fight Deadpool sometimes or something.
Sometimes he teams up with Deadpool. There was an episode, I think there was a comic where, or I've seen, I Google searched it and I saw there's like some episodes where he crossed over with Spider Man. Um, yeah, he
Mm,
basically just gets missions. Like he doesn't speak. He goes ooh, ooh, ha 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 ha, and things like that. He looks kind of dope. He wears a suit and he shoots people. I think that I want to
yeah,
see how Hula does a season out of this. Like it'll be interesting to see.
yeah. I'm interested to see how they're gonna tell a full story.
Yeah, no, absolutely
Speaking
legit.
speaking of people who are morally corrupt but kill for peace, let's talk Peacemaker.
Oh snap! So yeah, like
Did you see the did you get to see the teaser?
I saw the teaser, yes. With
He never takes that suit off, does he?
I think that's the joke behind it. I think that's the bigger theme. Was like, hey, it's not a suit, it's a uniform.
Ah. So, what do you hope to see in this series? What do you think we're going to see in this? James
Look,
Gunn wrote all of it though, and he
I
directed like the first three. I think he directed the first three episodes.
James Gunn.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, from the comic books of Peacemaker, we know he's basically Captain America, but a dick.
Ah.
He's the asshole Captain America, and I hope to see that play out in humor. I think even in this trailer they kind of portrayed his character kind of thinks how a regular person, how real people think, but they don't act on it. Some people do have asshole tendencies. Sometimes I have those asshole tendencies in my head where I was like, you know, um, this PC culture is just too much for me. I wish I could do something about it. Peacemaker would do something about it. He'd go and kill someone because he doesn't like their views or what's it for the government. So I think it's going to be an interesting series. I think it's going to be the first time we see something DC different, if that makes sense. Something DC that's not CW.
Mm.
And I think that's what's going to make it unique. Or not the first time, but this is going to be the first in the current trend. That's going to
Yeah,
fit
because I mean,
more.
like,
Yeah.
I think that's another thing though with the DCEU, just a lot like Star Wars. I think is that with comic book properties in general, I get that they got a certain aesthetic for their universe, but it would be cool to see different types of vibes within the same universe. Like
Yeah.
I get that you got the Avengers universe and you got that whole thing that looks like that, but what would an unbridled Deadpool look like or an unbridled Wolverine look like?
Yeah.
And then like they exist in their separate shade of
Yeah.
the Marvel universe type of thing. I mean, I get it because kids are watching it, quote unquote. So you're gonna have to fight with your kids now that they can't watch Deadpool or etc. etc. etc.
Yeah.
So
But I think Peacemaker's gonna give us an interesting. John Cena is charismatic as fuck. He can play a great asshole. You know.
yeah,
James Gunn writes characters like that fantastically. Um, I don't know how far they're gonna push this. Like, are we gonna get Henry Cavill or Wonder Woman or Flash cameos? Because technically they all exist in the same universe. Um,
yeah.
I'm
No,
pretty
but I mean
sure.
that's what I'm
I'm
saying
pretty
is
sure
that
we're gonna see Amanda Waller in this. Like, she's probably gonna be
yeah.
the driving force behind it. Um, but I think it's going to be a lot about like the psyche of a madman, and I think this might just open up interesting stories. Like imagine Ratcatcher as a full series. Imagine Harley Quinn has her own live action series. Um, I'd actually personally like. I think he needs a second chance. Imagine like Jared Leto as Joker in his own series. Like
That one I'm good.
look, I don't think he was great, and like he went a bit cuckoo bananas too too into it in the others in the Batman and all those other things. But I think Jared Leto was like a really good actor.
No, I think maybe the way they developed the character it needed more polishing because they
Mm,
were trying to stray too much away from they were trying to stray too much away from Heath Ledger and they ended up going too cartoony.
yeah.
Like I think there was moments in the Suicide because he's terrible to me in the Justice League Snyder cut. I
Oh
didn't like
yeah.
his scenes at all. In the Snyder cut, I did not like that at all. I was just like, ugh. And then he had the whole line, "We live in a society." I was just like,
Yeah.
oh. Shut up.
And asking Batman when they're gonna spoon.
uh, it's like, man, shut up. Just stop it. But like in Suicide Squad, I legit think he had like actual good moments. I just think that it was too cartoony.
Yeah.
So maybe they can bring it back. I wouldn't want to see him. I think the Joker works better as an antagonist than a protagonist. I
Mm.
think Harley Quinn could work as a protagonist.
Yeah.
Like I could see her having a series. I'd like Bloodshot to have a series. That would be pretty cool.
Yeah,
I'd
but
like to see a Bloodshot series.
technically we don't have
Not Bloodshot, Bloodsport. Sorry.
Bloodsport. Yeah, yeah, no, no, absolutely. Like Bloodsport could have a fantastic series, or like the whole thing about like the comic book version of it, where they take his mantle from him, or him fighting like skinheads for the Bloodsport mantle. Like technically in the comics, he gets killed by a Nazi, by a white supremacist, and then the white supremacist takes over the Bloodsport. That'd be a dope series to watch in a way, you know.
Yeah, like him. Like it would be
Not
kind
the
of like
fact that
him
the white
stepping into.
supremacist kills him, but you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
the
No, I'm just saying. I think what would be interesting in a sense is, and DC, watch this if you're watching it. It would be great. You know, subscribe, tell people about the channel, and credit us for our stories. But anyway, I think what would be cool is like if you have something where he does end up like end up in like this criminal organization thing where he does end up underground and fights and stuff, and then he almost gets killed by like this white supremacist who
yeah,
like steals his who
his
like steals
mantle,
his
yeah.
title, and then like this white supremacist is doing like horrible things, calling himself Bloodsport. But now original Bloodsport is so mad, Robert Dubois is so mad that he ends up taking up like others, like he ends up becoming like an unconventional hero. So he's not a hero for hero's sakes. Like he still
He's a
mess
hero to
like
get his mantle back. He's like,
yeah,
don't do this stuff, claiming it's me doing it.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then also like he still messes up. So for example, him and thingy, like like how they always have those scenes in like TV shows and movies where characters will be shooting each other in crowds
yeah.
and the bullets never hit anybody in a crowd. So maybe they'd be like a funny scene where Robert Dubois is like fighting with this guy who's also claiming to be Bloodsport, and they're like shooting at each other, and he's trying to like avoid people, but he ends up like shooting like an innocent person by accident, and he's like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, he just shoots through people. He's like, it's just a flesh wound. He shoots like people through the shoulders and stuff. It's just because they're in the way, you know?
Yeah, yeah, like, and he's like, get out the move,
Yeah.
as he's trying to take down this other blood sport, and it's literally nothing else but just getting his name back.
But
But like,
also
interestingly,
like things like his legacy of being the dude who shot Superman with kryptonite. I'd love to like see that play out, like being like famous or like, yo, you shot Superman. You put him in out of commission for a week, you know,
yeah, yeah, I
like
think, and then other blood
owning that title.
and then other Bloodsport like starts spreading lies that it's him.
Yeah,
So like the whole series is just based on Bloodsport getting his name back, and it's like
exactly.
all these crazy shenanigans. And I think with evil Bloodsport, you go full balls to the wall. He's this full on white supremacist.
Yeah,
So you make Robert Dubois look
people,
great, but then
him
you also
getting
have
pissed
that
off, him.
underlying commentary that Robert Dubois is not so great. He's only becoming great because he has this other force to fight against.
Yeah,
So he's actually like a pretty bad dude, but because in comparison, now you're
yeah,
just like, hey, maybe he's not so bad. And then maybe they do something where they make him a fully fledged hero. That would be
yeah.
like kind of an interesting story for him to go from this
From
mercenary
this arc.
villain.
But there would be
Yeah.
interesting stuff to play with as well, like the evil Bloodsport. He hates to take his mask off. When he takes his mask off, people are like, "Weren't you a black guy? I thought you were black."
Yeah,
And then he
yeah,
gets more pissed off. He's like, "No, Bloodsport is white. White is right." You know.
yeah. Yeah. DC, hire us for this show. Jeez.
Oh, that would be funny. That would actually be good. Like, but that's the potential. But what do you think the DCEU serialized universe or series universe means for now, like the CW? Like, the trend we're seeing in the CW is that season one of most stuff in the CW is pretty good, it's decent or okay, but when they keep going, they just start fucking up, you know?
I think one is that they stick with the same writers too much.
Hmm.
And I mean, I don't know if that's the case. It just feels the same for a
Yeah.
long time.
All their formulas seem the same. There's always love triangle. There's always extended family that
Yeah,
comes.
that's the other thing. Can we stop love triangles now? Like they
Yeah,
that never happens in real life, really. I've only heard it like twice
yeah.
where people actually have an actual love triangle. And then also like the other thing is for me, love triangles promote like dependency. Like, look,
Hmm.
bro, if she's not into you, move on. It's
Yeah.
okay. Like
I,
don't hang around.
it's kind of, but sometimes it's interesting to see the will they, won't they, or how they act when they are an actual couple. But it's like, what's her name? Felicity Storm. Once Felicity Storm and Oliver, actually worse. Once Iris and Flash were in the comic, that is one of the better power couples in the comics. Once Iris and Flash got together and Barry got together in the series, just fucked everything up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I was hoping you want them to be together. You as a fan know Barry and Iris belong together. Stop with the will they, won't they. Just put them together and let them have stuff. But then they put them together and let them have stuff. And every second thing is, when will we get married? Let's have our wedding. Oh, I'm so afraid people will destroy our wedding. It's like, yo, come on, dude. Like, give me a proper villain to fight. Except like, it's like a Mephisto thing. Fuck it. I'm actually getting
Yeah.
annoyed. Sorry.
I can see. I can see it. No, but like for example, a great example is the Superman and Lois show,
Yeah.
where that's a married couple working because like for one they do show like the realness of what a marriage is, quote unquote, and
Yeah.
everything. Never been married, so I don't know.
Yeah.
You can attest to that.
Yeah, no, I've
But
been
like
married. I am married.
don't say you have been, you get in trouble.
Freudian slip.
But like I'm just saying, I think because they made Lois her own character with her own story. I
Yeah.
mean, she is a mom, she is a wife, but she's also a journalist,
Yeah.
and she does do investigations without Superman until Superman has to bail her out. But I mean, he has to bail her out because she's a regular human. But I'm just saying they crafted her to be a character
Yeah.
versus just being an object. And I think in some of the best Superman stories, even though I'm not a big fan of Superman personally, just because I feel like he was too strong in the stuff that I read
Yeah.
anyway. Because he'd be, and then also it would be so inconsistent. He'd be lifting trillions of tons, and then he'd be struggling to lift the
Flip the bus.
building.
Yeah, I know.
And then I'm just like, but wait, what is it? Can you lift a trillion or can you lift this building? I'm so confused. But like, yeah, I think in the best stories where they work together, Lois is a character unto herself, and she
Yeah.
has her own gravitational pull, and that's kind of how it should work. Where it's like two whole people coming together instead of like I hate this saying that I think maybe it's part of my generation. I don't know, but it's this whole thing of it must be two halves that complete each other. That's not how that works.
Yeah.
So
No,
yeah, I think
know your strength and your weaknesses type of thing. Yeah, you're right. Like the thing that I find, what's the word I'm looking for? That I liked about the Lois and Superman series or Superman and Lois series is the fact that they don't do the whole liar reveal thing. They don't drag out the problem that they have across a whole season. They kind of resolve this shit in one episode. Oh, we have a problem, like a real person. We talk about it. We figure it out. We at least discussed it. We might not have resolved it yet, but we'll work on it as things go on. It's not like the whole season is I'm keeping the secret. If she finds out the secret, she'll leave me forever. They at least understand that the other person is an understanding person on the other side. Oh, I'm Superman. Hey, and Clark would actually come to Lois and say, you know what? I'm actually having trouble being Superman and the father you expecting to be at the same time. Instead of the whole season just showing us as the viewer like I'm being Superman, but it makes me sad. Being a dad makes me sad as well. No, they show him actually talking about it, bringing his problem to his family, talking about it like real people, and I can really appreciate that. They actually broke free of some of the old tropes that we're so used to and so sick of.
Yeah, so I think that's the thing in CW and in a lot of bad superhero media or just bad media in general, where they drag stuff out. Because that stuff always annoys me when like characters will drag stuff out for way too long,
Yeah,
unnecessarily, and all of that stuff. So yeah, I think that again, I think that these universes are so big that you can have something for everybody
yeah,
and that you can have a Superman and Lois exist in the same universe as a Peacemaker and go like, yeah, this all makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah, like I know it's weird, but it makes sense. Like that's the way you can have a Punisher story, or the way you can have Punisher interact with certain characters
yeah.
or whatever. And yeah, yes, have a scene where Punisher meets Rocket. I know
Mm.
it's weird, but like they've done that in the comic
It
books,
could
and
happen. It could
yeah,
happen. Yeah.
yeah,
Have
have a scene where like Castle meets Groot, and
I
he's
was
so
actually like
confused.
so hoping like when I initially heard Civil War came out. I don't know why we're
Yeah,
talking about Marvel in a DC segment. I've got my DC shirt on. But anyway,
I must find my Batman shirt. But go ahead.
when Civil War initially came out, I was hoping they would have that scene like the first Civil War graphic novel. I think I have it around here somewhere where Frank Castle is like standing in front of Captain America and he's got like the battered Spider-Man in his arms. And he's like bringing it,
Mm.
and Captain America's like, "You're still a criminal. I still need to whoop your ass." He's like, "I just brought you Spider-Man."
No, I mean, yeah, that's the interesting thing about Frank Castle as well. He's a pretty interesting character. But I'm
Yeah,
just saying, getting back to this, I think having a universe with Peacemaker and having a universe where Superman exists in a universe of Peacemaker and all of that stuff, they can make it work. I don't think they have to stick to like because it's too different. It's too different tonally, and also because it's given more of a hard R that these things can't exist.
yeah,
There's hard R comics and there's PG-13
yeah.
comics and there's kiddie comics. I think you can do that with shows as well and
Yeah,
just have it all exist cohesively.
I'm really hoping we get more of these hard on series. I really enjoyed the Suicide Squad. I thought it was a really good movie. We spoke in extensively about it. I think we both really enjoyed it. I think these characters have longevity. I'm hoping Rick Flag either as a clone or is not really dead.
Yeah. Option A might be more plausible, but I would like to see Rick Flag again.
I'd like to see him come back and somehow interact because the Rick Flag that they did in the Suicide Squad, um, he was actually really cool. I really liked his character. I think he
Yeah,
plays well for
he broke up with the Enchantress and got himself a personality.
right,
It was great.
right. I think she was holding him back. um,
All right, so that I think that brings us to our artist spot for
yeah,
today. Then,
absolutely.
yeah. So, my artist. So I don't know if you have any other thoughts on Peacemaker, or if you want to continue straight to
No,
the
no, no,
artist
no,
spot.
no. Watch it. I'm looking forward to it. I really want to see what they do with it. I really enjoyed James Gunn directing. I enjoyed all the Guardians of the Galaxy. I enjoyed Suicide Squad. So I think it can only be good based on all the other DC stuff, even though it's CW stuff. I think it can only be good. John Cena is charismatic. He's someone you like to watch. He's got a screen presence. He showed us
Isn't
his
that
acting chops.
Isn't that crazy though? Like people hated John Cena in the WWE. They hated him for a long time because he would never go heel. And
Yeah.
it took James Gunn and a peacemaker suit and some bullets to make him finally do a heel turn. And it turns out that he's pretty good at it.
Yeah. Remember, people used to hate The Rock before he was The Rock as well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He had to build a whole
No,
persona.
I think
After,
the other thing that's interesting though is that The Rock was beloved in WWE, but he's not so beloved in movies. And John Cena, because they had that whole rivalry,
yeah,
John
yeah, yeah,
Cena's not that beloved in WWE, but he's about to be like beloved in
in
movies and
movies and
TV
series
series.
and stuff.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's
Look,
that's
we'll see how it goes. Maybe we get the two of them in the same movie one day.
yeah, maybe. I mean, Fast and Furious was close, but I think they're planning to replace The Rock with the John Cena, maybe.
Oh yeah, I've never watched the ninth one. To be honest, I haven't watched Fast Nine, F9.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you want to see superheroes for real, yeah, if you want to see,
Should I check it out? Should I check it out? Because I've been avoiding it. Like I just
I don't know, man. Like I didn't finish it because it was just like that's a bit too much for me. Like when Vin Diesel gets off the ground and his white tee is still clean, there's not even like a speck of dust on it. I was just like, okay, at least dirty up the shirt. If you're not gonna cut the man, at
no, no,
least dirty
no.
up the shirt.
Listen. Dom is infallible. He can't get dirty, and then he needs that flair behind him to make him angelic as well.
I think that the Fast and Furious family could give the Avengers a run for their money. Like if you put them two teams up together, I think that Dom could handle Thor. At
Yeah.
this stage, yeah. like like I can see Dom twisting, I can see Dom spinning like a muscle car and summoning like gasoline fire energy.
Stop giving them ideas. Stop giving them ideas.
Anyway, my my artist spot for today, my artist spot for today is gonna go to Afro Tokyo.
Aha.
So I really like this company a lot. I bought one of their shirts. They actually did it. I commissioned a piece from them,
Yeah.
which is actually really cool. It was based on my character called Hatred, which has got a whole backstory behind him, which is gonna be great when I finally get my book off the ground. But yeah, it's a super cool community. It's Afro mangaka, hardcore. They have a bunch of series going on. One of them is called Bot, BAWT. I have some of those issues. They're actually pretty cool. They sent me some free issues because I was talking about them on my channel. I actually need to talk more about some of the other series eventually in the future. And yeah, it's a really cool company. Check them out, Zimbabwean based. And I think they can potentially do big things. I just think right now they're limited by where they are and resources and all of
Yeah.
that stuff, which is kind of sad. And also, I think the halting of Comic Con kind of hurt their gravy train because they were, picking up steam.
Yeah.
But let's see if we can help them, Meisterville. Please go check out Afro Tokyo. It's a pretty dope company.
I've been following the Afro Tokyo guys for a long time. Met them a few times. Um, really clean art style. Their anime stuff is like, and their manga stuff is really really cool. Um, the person I actually want to spotlight is called Playron Fires. FLAYRON underscore FIRES. Fires.
Okay, so say again, F
Playron
Flavor.
FLAYRON
Yeah.
underscore fires FIRES.
Oh, okay, cool. Flavor on fire.
Lovardo Abrams. I've been watching this like he tags me in like a whole. I've been tagging me in things on Instagram since the get go. And the reason why I'm putting mentioning and putting this kid on doesn't have that many followers, but I'm enjoying his progression. It's
Mm.
like a very manga anime style. So definitely in the Japanese influence in the art style. But I've been watching since the old days. Big fan of Kwezi. I know he always tags us in. Does a lot of fan art. Does a lot of drawings. Um, but it's getting better. It's so cool to see people, get better at each stage every year. Every time they put out art, there's now like color being added to the art. I see things have moved way more to digital. Kid is experimenting. Well, I say kid is like 25 years old. Um, I keep
Oh, so we're the same age.
holy. keep experimenting with animation and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's a interesting to see that kind of progression in people.
That's really cool. I mean, I'm speaking to my own journey. I can, it takes a lot. Like there's
Yeah,
some days when, like right now, I'm doing like a skeleton breakdown. Like front, side, back,
yeah.
and trying to understand like how things connect to each other. Not all of the details because I don't have the brain capacity for that. So I'm trying to like simplify stuff
Yeah.
and everything just to understand, just to get a basic understanding of like anatomy and all of that stuff. And yeah, there's some days where I'm just like, why?
Yeah, yeah,
but but yeah, there is a level of satisfaction I do get when like people are like, oh my gosh, you've gotten better since like, not that I do it for that satisfaction in particular, no, but it is nice when people are like, oh yeah, you are getting better, and like I can see myself getting better. Like if I look at my first drawings compared to my drawings now, they're vastly different and all of that stuff. I still
you're
have a lot of.
lucky. No one tells me I got better. They just like, oh, I prefer when you drew like this to when you draw like that. Or I prefer these drawing to those ones. I wish people would compliment me every now and then.
Well, you're already a master. That's not
No,
fair.
no, no,
I'm
no.
still a
I'm far from
Padawan.
it.
Yeah, I'm still a Padawan. You're sitting on the
I had
council.
such a this last week I had such like artist block. I haven't put out much new stuff. Like I was just trying to like draw construction, like draw characters. I actually shared some stuff with my buddies. I was like trying out a new style, and I was asking their opinion. And it's like I used to be very anime inspired. Um, most of my life. So I used to draw things very anime style, and I was trying to like draw like more realistic, but also anime at the same time. And my buddies like on the group I was sharing were like giving me like shit about it, you know. That's just
Why?
a rough. That's just a rough sketch. It's just a style I'm
Uh,
toying with.
I want to get there. I want to be able to do that. Oh my gosh.
You'll get there. You'll get there. That's not. Then they're like, oh, it's not anime enough. Make the eyes bigger. I was like, I don't want it to be too cartoony. So it needs to kind of be like a bit realistic. And then I'm like showing them pictures like this of the artists that inspire me. Like, I want my art to look like that.
Oh, okay. I see what you're going for.
You
Yeah.
know? Anyway,
And
we all go
yeah,
through
I
our
hear you. But
journeys.
I
Remember, we
mean, it is
all we
like
all
just
learn.
anybody who's, yeah, just anybody who's out there. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of work. It takes a
Yeah.
lot of dedication. And yeah, passion and drive is great, but I would say discipline is better in a sense because
Mm,
there's days where I don't want to draw. Like this morning, I really had to force myself to draw, and I like to do a gesture session for
yeah.
like an hour where I do like 50, 50 poses or whatever.
Yeah.
And they all look very, very, very horrible. Like, ugh. But like it's just a drawing, so I'm not too judgmental of
Yeah.
myself about it. But the point is that yeah, on the day, like that's the thing when you find something like even with YouTube, there are days where I'm like, I don't want to record anything. Ugh.
Mm,
But I have to record something. So yeah, just
yeah.
I think you gotta keep it like that.
Yeah. It's exactly the same with me. It's like I normally try and start working at about 8, 9 a.m. in the morning. So normally between 8 and 9 is when like I try and warm up. So that's when I do like those action hero series that I've been posting every now and then. I don't know, you notice like sometimes I only do one a week, sometimes I do one every 2 weeks, sometimes I do like five in a week. It's like um so I'll sit from 8 a.m. to like 9 a.m. or 8 till 8:30, and I'll just be drawing circles on my screen, because I can't think. My brain is not active. Some days I'll like sketch something, and then like that picture I showed you were like, oh snap, that looks pretty good, and then you like do it in like 5 minutes, you do it in like 10 minutes, and you're like, how did my head do that? Sometimes you just need to force yourself through that break. You just like you said,
Mhm.
dedication. Just keep doing it until
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And with that being said, I want to say thank you so much, Meisterville, for watching or listening. If you're at this point in the video, you guys are awesome. You guys, gals, and non-binary pals are very awesome and all of that stuff. So please hit that like and that share, that subscribe if you're at this point in the video and everything. Please hit notifications so you never miss an episode. And with that, me and Clyde Beach will have to say peace.
like. Wait. I forgot how to sign now.
Oh, yeah. Fun fact, I actually worked at a deaf school once,
Yeah,
teaching deaf people how to program.
thank
So
you.
yeah, yeah. That's all I retain, like that, and
Understand.
yeah, and yeah, this
Sorry.
I think. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Hungry.
yeah.
I kind of I dated a girl who was going progressively deaf. So, but that was like
Oh,
almost 20 years ago, and I learned some signs, but I forgot most of them.
uh, all right, man. Well, that was a great episode. How long was it? I'm betting 2 hours.
Shit, dude, I think that was a long one. Let me just see. Let me.
Well, I mean, Star Wars Visions, I think, just expanded everything because we talked about 9